Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Wellness Morning with Daniela. We are at the Wellness Hub, and today we are talking about self-love.
That's a big topic.
Yes. I'm curious about this topic because in our last meeting, when we had this chat, we touched upon it a little bit. And I loved what you said. You said self-love is not about having bubble bath at the end of the day. So I was just wondering if we could expand a little bit more about understanding what does it mean to love yourself. We use this word so lightly, but what does it really mean? What do I need to do to love myself?
Good morning, Dr. Ola. Good morning, everyone. And this is such a beautiful topic, and actually, it's not an easy topic either because this is something we hear so much about, and there are so many different ideas what actually self-love is. In my personal experience and my experience with my work and my clients, what I've understood is self-love is really understanding what your needs are, first of all, and then honoring those needs, having the courage and the ability. And why I'm saying having the courage, because very often we know what we need, we know what we want, but all the fear of rejection, fear of being judged, fear of being criticized can come up, and then we just don't express those needs. So to me, self-love starts with having, first of all, awareness of what are my needs, and then having the courage to express those needs, not just to other people, but even in front of ourselves, and to honor those needs, to prioritize ourselves. And I don't mean it in a selfish way. I mean it including ourselves in the equation of how we treat our people, how much we love to those we care about, without feeling guilty for also placing ourselves in the same space where love is a priority.
That's very interesting what you said, and many things touched me. So self-love, if I were to come up with a formula, and I'm not here to come up with any formula because everyone is different, but it sounded to me like self-love could be understood through awareness of what you need. So awareness would be a big part to know yourself and to know your real needs, not the needs. Yes, also I'm hungry, I need this, but there are deeper needs.
Absolutely.
Right? So there's different kind of needs, all of them. Awareness of that, and then on the other side, it's actually communicating, expressing those needs. And we'll have bravery, courage as the bridge to come from the awareness to expression.
Yes, and courage is there is a very actually vulnerability. Yeah, so I'm vulnerable enough, which means I'm courageous enough to actually tell you what I need.
That's scary.
For many,
right?
it was for me as well.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely, and it is scary again because of the fears of being judged, being abandoned,
rejected.
Yeah. How many times we don't express our needs because we're afraid that the person may leave.
Yeah, but that's again very interesting because to avoid the rejection, to avoid the abandonment, to avoid that discomfort, that unpleasant, that reaction from someone else, I think what we may tend to do is rejecting our own needs.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of self-rejection.
Absolutely.
Right?
We abandon ourselves.
Yeah.
We abandon ourselves, and we
yes.
sacrifice,
Okay.
which is which is something usually what I find, it goes back to deep wounds
Yes.
in the subconscious, something trauma which is stored,
Yes.
which until that is opened up to heal and looked at, it's very difficult to voice the needs and to really have that courage to say, hey, I need to love myself more. I need to nourish myself more, because if I don't do that, I'll become resentful. I'll have no
Yes,
compassion,
I
right?
hear
So
you.
so it's like a chain reaction. And I like to give this example. Imagine that you're starving for food.
Yeah.
You have no food in your house,
Mhm.
and I come to you and I ask you, can you feed me? You're not able to because you need food. So how can we give something that
Right.
we need ourselves? So this is why self-love is so important, because in order to be able to nourish another person and to connect deeply to them, we need to be able to also nourish ourselves,
Yes.
so it can be better for ourselves and the people we care about, and even humanity, because we are all interconnected.
Okay, so self-love is about being in touch with yourself, about choosing and acknowledging your needs, expressing them, and then the way to recharge yourself, to fill yourself so that you can be abundant energetically and that you can give to other people around you, right? So if we can just go into a few tips,
Sure.
how do you become aware of your needs? How do you do that? And then the second one, a few tips. How do you express those needs? How to do that?
Yes, very good question. So, first of all, how do you become aware of your needs, right? So, what I would suggest is it's very interesting because very often it's difficult to just sit down and ask yourself, what is it that I want? And to come up with answers which are really related to you.
Okay.
Because very often we think that what we need is what we need,
Right.
but it's very often something that we've been told that we
Okay.
need, or it comes from the mind.
Yeah.
And there is an exercise which I love, and this is something that I've done in the past, and I still use as a tool, to sit in silence and to ask, what does my heart want? Because very often when we come from the mind, it could be, well, I want to have a better job, I want to earn this amount of money, I want to have this kind of a partner.
Right.
But when you go deep into your heart, you may discover that actually what you really need is something else. It could be, I need more solitude.
Yeah.
I need to connect with like-hearted people,
Mhm.
like-minded people. Or maybe I just need to have this daily 15 minutes where nobody disturbs me.
And that's beautiful because the need doesn't have to be something out of your reach, right? It's just I need
Exactly.
15 minutes for myself in
Exactly,
silence, or that's 1
exactly.
minute. Or
Yes, and what I would suggest is when you have that awareness of this is something that I really need, test it
okay.
and see what
Okay.
changes start to take place in your life. So test it, do it for a week at least, and see what's shifting in you.
Okay.
Are you becoming more tolerant? Are you becoming more patient? Does your creativity take a new turn for the
Right.
better? Does your consciousness expand? Are you becoming more kind? Yes.
Yeah. So this need for it sounds to me that it's more focused on within than what I need from others. I need you to do this. I need this to happen, which is out of control. We cannot always make, well, I would say we can never make another person do what we want. But when you focus on your own needs, what do I need? I can give it to myself. And then I have my inner shift. Maybe I'm more patient, maybe I'm more kind, and then maybe I can do something better because I'm more capable, I'm calmer, and so on. Right? But
Yes.
it's the path from within, in a way.
Absolutely, yes. And I love what you said because this is part of the process in breaking codependency.
Right.
Very often we place so much pressure on that one person, and it happens a lot in relationships. You need to meet my needs.
Right.
Yes, I agree that there are certain dynamics in a relationship, and everybody has their boundaries which need to be honored, right? Or tolerances, right? But when you start to attend to your tender side,
Mhm.
to your tender self, you realize that actually I can trust in my own ability to fulfill those most sacred needs, and hence, and what happens, it's interesting, the moment we let go of that pressure on another person, they actually want to do more things for you.
Right. Because they don't feel forced. maybe,
Exactly,
right? It's
they
coming-
don't feel forced,
Yes.
they don't feel this constantly, I need you, I mean, we know how it feels if you sit in a room with let's say a child that is asking, "Mommy, can I have this? Mommy,
Yeah.
can I have this?" For example,
Absolutely.
or somebody who is constantly wanting your validation.
Yes.
It's a lot of pressure for the person. So there is magic that happens when we start to really trust in our own ability to fulfill our needs, and self-love is really having your priorities, how to say it, aligned
Yeah.
with what is best for you and those around you, and yes, it is really a part of breaking codependency and becoming more self-reliant. It doesn't mean that you're cutting ties with people that you love. It just means that you're actually finding that strength and power within yourself.
Yeah, this is beautiful. So, what to do if you are scared to express your need? Do you say it out loud? How do you do that? How do you express needs?
So, yes, brilliant question. In order to reach a point where you are able to express your needs, I noticed that few things happen. First of all, people, from not expressing their needs, they build so much resentment,
Right.
or they become so depleted that they just explode, right? Which is normal, because we know how emotions, how mental body works. Not to reach that point, first we need to work on the fears. The fear of being rejected, the fear of being abandoned, and to know that, those who actually care, regardless of what we say, and those who are meant to stay in our lives, they will stay in our lives.
Right.
And the other part of it is that we are being our authentic selves when we express our needs.
Right.
And we know authenticity is like the highest vibration, right? So and very often we are afraid to express something, not to make another person feel uncomfortable.
Right.
But I always say there is perhaps something that they need to hear. Maybe they're not aware of that. Most of us are caught up in a pattern, and without hearing that message, we may not be aware that I'm hurting you, or I'm not prioritizing you, or you're feeling depleted.
Right.
So these are things to consider.
Yeah, this is beautiful, and I think it's opening yourself, as you're saying, to acceptance and
Yes.
what is, right? And some people will reject what we offer, and others will not. And
Yes.
those who care probably will listen a little bit better, and
Yes.
those who don't probably won't.
Yes.
And making peace with that and saying,
Yes.
okay, it's not about me, but I
Yes.
would really love to come out from my small world and see how things are, and I'm okay to see what is and
Absolutely.
accept that and go
Yes.
with that.
Yes.
So,
And something else I've learned in my personal experience, because I had the habit of picking always the wrong time to express my
right.
needs. So I had to work on that myself. So I realized that it's very important.
Timing.
Also the timing, tune into the other person, because they might be going just through something themselves, and we may not be aware of it.
Right.
So it's very important to pick the right timing and the right state of mind, and even the atmosphere matters.
Right.
So, and the other thing that I realized is it's always important to ask for permission.
How would you? How does this work?
So, what I'll do is, hey, there is something, or whoever's in front of me, there is something that I have been reflecting on, and it's a little bit heavy on my heart. Are you in the right state of mind where we can have 5-minute conversation so I can express this to you?
Yes.
Do I have a permission?
Because the person then enters this space by
You're
their own
inviting
will.
them
Yes.
instead of
Yeah.
bombarding them with,
Yeah.
you didn't do this,
Yeah.
and I need that from you, and
Yeah.
whoa, wait a minute, I'm
Yeah.
dealing with something really deep within
Right.
myself. So I understood that it's very important to have that mutual respect of boundaries and personal space. So that has been a really important part in my process of asking for whatever I need and allowing another person to also ask me. So yes, and again, that happens with experience, but this is something that I would definitely suggest.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the insights and thank you for the lovely conversation again.
Thank you very much, and it's always a pleasure.